Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, we finished seeding all the locations we could to try and draw the gardener in to protect the rest of the eye. However, we'll still need to reconnect things, and Peak told us that's going to take a bit. So for now, we need to help the flotilla prepare to leave. So, supply hauling, berth refitting, let's do what we can. There's one. Oh! As you stop to rest in one of the Pilgrim Seed's cavernous bays, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you're here! Soul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. Building up to something? Soul shoots you a sideways look. See, that's what I like about you, Sleeper. Straight to the point, no messing. He smiles a sly smile. Soul settles beside you, flinching a little, but making himself comfortable on the crate. Seems the word got out, this way or that. He nods towards the welders a little way off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls. We've had people flowing in from the eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought. Which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. That's good, right? Good for those that can get a place, maybe. But none of this is good for anyone. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. Soul waves away the thought. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. Just a tired old man. I have something to ask, though. What is it? With all these evacuees, well, we need a change in plan. Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now you settled down the folks from Ember Step, and they sent us supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. If we could get more... And then the song crews. He rubs his chin. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need the docking access of theirs, but some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already. He puts a hand on your shoulder. I sent my requests out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now. I need you out there speeding things up. Of course. All right, then. He climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way. Either way, you won't have to deal with me much longer. Unless, of course, you were planning to come along for the trip. No, I'm staying. I understand. Soul waves a hand and starts off towards the bay's entrance, the crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. Well, let's start with Aki. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. Good to see you, Aki. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the steppe ecosystem. We are to be the suppliers for the evacuees, I am sure you have heard. We will put the dust houses to use. She leads you past the dust house where the dust is less, the orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting, slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. The plants of steppe are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki stops at a half-empty dust house, scoured of its sand. It is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight even to you, now that you are used to the amber dust of steppe. I admit, it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? I'll do my best. Thank you. I know that the eye is suffering, that it is at risk. I know what that is like. It's okay. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on Step, but for the moment I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile, but if you do not have time, I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house, the first signs of new life. Will you soon be like the people of Steppe, leaving behind a home? Or will you be stubborn and hold your ground despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment of welcome suspension in time, a rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki, and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it and turns away. So let's see. The dust houses now have a new function to feed the evacuees on their journey to the Starward Belt. That means many changes. Option A, dust house tending. To be used on the flotilla's outward trip to the dust houses will need careful tending, especially those being adapted to greenway plants. And harvest automation. Dust house efficiency could be massively improved with an automated harvesting system, but the Steppe techs need some help. 6 successes in order to succeed. Now let's speak with Peter. The docking axis is in chaos when you arrive. The staccato burst of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached this place before you. Come to join the Exodus, Sleeper? Peter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. What's happening? Peter gestures to the chaos. The singers are rising, Sleeper. Peter eyes you. I suppose you're here on Sol's orders again? Nothing Ember's Hearth likes to do more than ordering people around. I am here by choice. Fair enough. Just your timing always seems to be a cycle or two after we get some request from the Hearth ship. It must be a coincidence. Well, Sol has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the Starward Belt aligns perfectly with our plans. What plans? To leave this damned place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. If we can build our escape and make the Hearth ships think we are complying with their orders at the same time, then it's a 2-in-1 for us. Those idiots will never see it coming. You're leaving the flotilla. We are our own flotilla, Sleeper. Peter looks away at the busy axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to Hot and Steppe any longer. Why would we? To help them? They are taking on evacuees from the Eye, that's what I heard. So how about they help themselves before they ask us to make up for their bad decisions? Peter looks down. Look, nothing against you or yours, Sleeper, but we have to get out from under the shadow of Steppe and Hearth. And this is the time. We won't let the flux catch us again, not a chance. And for the first time, you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us make that leap? Grab a torch, talk to a crew. You're welcome to it. Every person here is free to prove themselves. I'll help when I can. Yeah, just a stop on the road, Sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out past the docking axis, through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, stay strong. And with that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew with a purpose, a direction visible in every step of his rapid stride. So let's see. The ships from Ember's Song will act as scouts and security for the evacuees. That means dismantling the docking access. We have crew management. The crews of Ember's Song are effective but headstrong and stubborn. They need direction and management. And axis reclamation. As the docking axis is dismantled and the individual ships refitted, as much of the material as possible needs to be reclaimed. Right. That one also needs 6. So 6, 12, 17 total. We can do this relatively quickly. Yeah, we can do this pretty quickly, honestly. At 17, it'll take, at best, 4 cycles. And we have 10 cycles. This is 100% going to be solved before then. But we don't know what's going to happen after. Oh god, those are bad rolls. Well, we can at least help finish up with this. Gimme good rolls. I guess I'll take them. This one may not be a perfect success. Ooh. I mean, on the good side, we did actually get a point, so I can go ahead and rest here to regain energy. That helped a lot more than I expected. Let's keep going. Three ones. Oh, that is horrible. But on the plus side, this cycle we're going to be able to finish with this. Axis Reclamation. You expertly strip wires and components from the Axis walls. As you dismantle them, the crews are impressed. And a bit of crew management. You manage to convince 2 rival crews to work together, refitting their ships. Both benefit from the other's expertise. The docking axis is little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking, has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you are realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, the shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of Ember spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice. Perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet, and whether they should. Among these Singer crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refugee. A paying passenger, or a replacement engineer or pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the Singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that, whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the Singer crews, they'll have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the Eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with the crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala. You freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. Good to see you. She pulls back. And you! She smiles, but then it quickly fades as she realizes the context in which you are meeting. She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starward belt. She waits for your response nervously. Why didn't you say? Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your droll, blurred conversations in the back of the Bantayan. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little, just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starward belt. I'm an idiot, and I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. Alone? I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it's the right thing to do, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, couldn't stop thinking about him. How did you hear? I work in a bar. I've heard every bit of gossip this place has to offer. Speaking of the Bantayan, she meets your eye. Someone will have to run it. I mean, I can ask Francis, he'd be happy to, or one of the others, and of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes, it's no pressure, it's fine whichever way I was thinking. I could run the bar. Tala nods, smiling. I think so. I mean, you can take a second, but, She glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little way away. There's not exactly much time. So, considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck, the key to the Bantayan. Do you want to do it? Yes. Tala leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. I couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the key from around her neck and places it around yours as if presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. And remember to empty the still if you are leaving things closed for a few cycles, and... I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away a tear. I can come back and check in. Maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders, her eyes already drifting towards the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. I wouldn't have been able to leave if I hadn't made things work here. Dad wouldn't have let me. See you around. Hope so. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew who will carry her to the starward belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now that will feel like breaking something fragile. And if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. I admit, I always did like Tala. She's a nice one. She's a nice and fun one. Alright, we gotta work on these to get these going. You managed to refactor the sensor automation so the system believes and receives better, more accurate data. As for dust house tending, you start to get a sense of how steppe and greenway plants might work together, feed each other, form new symbiotic relationships. Okay, 4 more cycles. But for now... There we go, that helps. Bit of scrap for repair. And end the cycle. There we go. This is gonna be an easy success. Just toss a little bit into each of them. And one more. There we go. Alright, success. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one where plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces, the pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing lichal symbiotes. It's a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. Sleeper! I should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Rico! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. She smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and, well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. You know Aki? A little. She's a fine botanist and an even finer conversationist. Two rare qualities on the station in my experience. Riko limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Riko's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichal growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers, and the way they feed the soil with nutrients to help herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit, and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes. And I think I have decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange, artificial, changed remnants of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the Greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles and the tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I'll miss you. The feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eyes and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. What I want to know is what you are planning. I'm staying. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper, to know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know, but you also have to ask yourself why it is so. Don't neglect that. Oh! Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet. And if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. I can offer that at least. Thank you. Don't thank me, these are yours by right. Riko stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper, I'll be a while. She calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality to her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She is looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Riko with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. A friend of yours? Something like that. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her. Are you leaving us? Yes. Ah, the first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping her in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path. A farewell from my world. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Riko turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist, and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the club heads, the Greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Okay then. Well, all that's left is the last one, which I will work on. I will go ahead and take this for energy. That fills me up on energy. That is beautiful. Let's go ahead and do a bit of self-repair. 6 cycles left until the flux arrives, but we're going to be able to finish up the repairs here. Reroll. Oh, that is a lot better. Thank you very much. Alright. Berth refitting. You work in sync with the other team, splitting the job so that by the time you're done, there are tens of new berths in place. And for supply hauling, you hit a good rhythm, and soon the supplies are heading out to all corners of the Pilgrim Seed. This can work. This seems a risky play, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay. I am not going to try that again. I'm going to go one more cycle. Whoop, not that. I meant this. That helps. Once again, a bit of self-repair. End of the cycle. Ugh, more bad rolls. But we only need one more. There we go. They just keep coming. Perhaps the flux event scared enough people that they really believe the eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of Havenage, of the Council's infighting and the hardliners. Perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, a place that is anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla's shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they are almost meaningless now, a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity. Some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still, you help. Still, you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. Not until you see Lem and Mina. Lem is lugging a set of heavy bags, weighed down by them, while Mina trails alongside, looking bored. They walk beside an older lady, and as she climbs out of the main bay, they embrace. You watch as Mina hides behind her father, angry that she has to say goodbye. You realize this must be Esther, her sometime babysitter, the one Lem mentioned lives a few doors down from them. So she is leaving. You feel a sudden relief and realize that when you saw them here in this place, you thought they might be joining the evacuees. That thought filled you with inexplicable dread. Mina is eventually persuaded to say goodbye, and she embraces the woman tearfully, clinging to her legs. Lem picks her up, comforting her as she curls into his neck. The woman leaves, waving one last goodbye, Soul's guys taking her bags from her. You watch the scene play out at a distance, but you can't tear yourself away. You see Lem and Mina turn to leave. Go to them, obviously. Sleeper! Lem greets you enthusiastically, and when she sees you approaching, Mina smiles through her tears. Was that Esther? Lem glances at her receding form. That's her. I can't believe you two never met. She's been a little spooked by all this talk about the flux event. She is going with the flotilla. He pauses, his smile suddenly fading. You aren't going too, are you? Mina doesn't move, but you can feel her attention on you and your answer. I'm staying. Glad to hear it. Mina seems to settle too at this response. He shifts his weight. What do you think to it, Sleeper? Is the flux going to take this place down? There's all kinds of crazy rumors flying around. Some folks even said they are starting up the old can channel, but that's crazy, right? It's not that crazy. Huh. Well, I'll be. He puts a hand on Mina's head. I guess this place is on borrowed time after all. I don't think I have another move in me, Sleeper. He shifts his hand to cover Mina's ear. This is our place now. Me too. All right then. At least we'll all be here together. Don't leave us. Mina suddenly leaps out of Lem's arms and grabs you. You stumble under the sudden weight. Mina has gotten big while you weren't watching. You hug her back, her little fingers digging into your shoulder. I'm not going anywhere. Mina nuzzles into your neck silently. Lem reaches over and grabs Mina. Sorry, she's a little overwhelmed, like I said. A little hungry too, right, Meanie? Mina nods softly. I better go find a place. Lem smiles widely. So good to see you. You should come round the apartment when you have time. We'd both love that. Come here. He leans over and, with Mina still in your hands, gives you an awkward hug. He steps back, looking a little sheepish. He goes to say something, then stops. Take care, Sleeper. Then he turns and walks away down the bay to the returning shuttles, bouncing Mina as he does, who laughs appreciatively. And just before they disappear out of view, Mina catches one last bright-eyed glance of you, her face a mask of stubbornness, hiding a trembling hint of fear. Drive complete. Well, there's not much left we can do. So I think I need to end this episode here. Next episode, I think we're finally going to find out what happens next. Oh, we're almost done, I think. That'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chester44. I'll send you fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.